Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now, in today's video, we are going to see how to use Clay's waterfall enrichment to get clean, high quality B2B data by pulling from multiple data sources. Now, the problem that we have seen in the industry is that most companies have fixed budget for data tools. So, what might happen is that they might end up choosing only one tool. Say, for example, let's take the case of contact extraction tool like Lucia, Apollo, EasyLead, ZoomInfo, and something like that. And initially, things look fine that, okay, they have made the right choice in investing in a particular tool based on, say, the accuracy, testing a couple of profiles by extracting the contacts and more. But what starts happening is many times there will be certain contacts, certain key accounts where you'll find that that particular tool is not able to give you the emails, the phone numbers, or no data at all. And that's when we realize this one thing, that the problem isn't with us selecting a particular tool. The problem is relying on just one data source for us to extract the data. Because what happens is every tool pulls the data from different databases or different sources. They have different refresh cycles of collecting these data, scraping these data. And they apply different logics algorithms to this to get that final data, validated data. So even if, say, one tool might miss the data, there will be another tool that might actually have that data. So how do we solve this? How do we ensure that we are able to access multiple data sources to get the right data that we are looking for? So this is wherein Clay's waterfall enrichment comes into picture. Now I'll quickly take a use case over here wherein, say, consider that we are either a fintech company or a logistics company or an e-commerce developer who is looking to engage with apparel and fashion brands. So I'll quickly move to Clay, show you the sort of ICP that I'm looking at over here, wherein, say, if I want to target apparel and fashion brands of companies with mid-size headcounts and belonging to specific cities also. So how do I go about this? First, very important is we use, say, the filters of Clay or any other tool that is said, and we come across a database of company names. Or there can be another situation wherein, say, we have a list of companies and we're just putting it or uploading it on Clay to enrich. Now, my idea over here is that I'm looking to approach those companies, specifically those companies who have the volumes that I'm looking for. Volumes in what terms is, say, I'm looking for, or my end goal is to engage with companies who have more than 5,000 customers in a month, or who are getting 5,000 orders from their e-commerce channel in a month. Now, there is no available or public data source through which you will be able to get that exact number. But there is another way in which you can make a calculated assumption about this. That is by finding that what are the data points that can lead you to getting that answer. In this scenario, okay, what we need to get is how many visitors that this particular company has on their website on a monthly basis. That's our first data point. What does this indicate, or what will this indicate for us is we will be able to create certain benchmark that if the particular company has certain amount of website visitors coming, then they will be getting X amount of orders in a month. Now for that, I'm sure you are aware that there are multiple tools who will give you the website traffic, but every single tool cannot give you the exact one based on a particular criteria. So what we do over here is, I'll first start by explaining what the waterfall enrichment is. Now, when I click over here on adding any column, there is the option of adding a waterfall. A waterfall is wherein we have to add multiple action items and multiple tools. So over here, when I say select the data type as, if I want it to be a number in this case, I can put it as a number. Over here in terms of action, when I click on add action, if you can see over here on the left hand side, I have multiple data sources. So Clay offers us this option of not just relying on one data source, but multiple data sources to find the exact data point that we are looking for. So I would recommend you guys to explore these different databases that are there. Now, in our case, we are looking for, say, the website visitors, but in your case, say, for example, if you're looking for the tech stack, you can use BuiltWith. This is one of the well-known platforms through which you can get a complete tech stack of companies. You can even check out Clearbit or Explorium. So these are platforms through which you will be able to enrich certain company data. In our case, if I'm looking for website traffic, what I can do is that I can just simply search over here website traffic, and I can see that there is SERP stat, there is SimilarWeb, SEMrush. Now, multiple data sources are available over here. But how do I decide which data source to take and which not? So for that, we need to understand one thing, that we don't have unlimited credits with us for enriching the data. What we have are limited credits and we need to mindfully use them. So as you can see over here, if SERPstat is at 5 credits that's for one single interest rate, it will take 5 credits. SimilarWeb takes 20 credits, SEMrush takes 3 credits. So I need to be very mindful as to what is the sequence that I want to put in to get the exact output that I'm looking at, while being conservative about my usage of credits. So I can say put SEMrush as the first account or the first data source for me, wherein I have inputted the domain over here. In terms of the target type, I can mention that, okay, what is it I'm looking for? Now, when I actually go to over here in terms of saving this as an output, what I have as an option over here is to add other data sources. So again, I can click on action, add action. I can again type in, say, website visitors, and this time I'll take SimilarWeb, and I have that as well over here as a step. So similarly, I'll keep on adding multiple data sources for me to then finally get the output that I'm looking for. Now, if you see over here in the data set that I have companies of all sizes. Now, I don't want to waste my credits by running on all of these companies, because I know that for certain companies which have, say, a lesser employee size, might not have that much website traffic. This is a fair assumption that I can make based on the company size. So what I'm going to do over here is I can put in a formula over here to further filter that my waterfall should run only for specific rows and not for all rows. Next, I might also think that if my target market is in tier 1 cities, so I might only want to target, say, metro cities in India like Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Delhi, Gurgaon and all. So in this case, what it even offers is an option to put in a filter that is only run if a particular condition is being met. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to use AI to create that formula instead of actually just typing in the formula. So I can simply type that I want. When I put in the slash over here, it will give me options. So company size to be greater than, say, 50. And I want the location. So again, I'll put in the slash, select the location column to contain either Mumbai and the other cities that I mentioned. Okay, so I can just give a few examples over here. And then what I can ask it to do is generate the formula for me. So this becomes very much easy for me to then get an output over here. So as you can see over here, it validates whether the employee size is higher, like greater than 50 or not, and then also based on the location. So this particular formula gives me that output, and then I can use this as a filtration, and then I can click on save. So I've already done this. I'll just show you how the output looks like. So when I actually edit the column over here, I'll be able to see the full configurations, wherein I have used SEMrush as my first validation, then SERPstat, then storage, and then this particular tool. And this is how I've fed in the condition. And when I actually run this, so as you can see, if I expand, how does this work? So what the waterfall method is if a particular, so if my first tool doesn't give me the right output, it'll move on to the next one. If the next one doesn't give me the output, it will move on to the later one itself. So that's how the entire waterfall sequence works. Now over here in my first itself, I found for all of them, and this is what my output looks like, wherein I have the exact count. And for the ones where the condition isn't met, so if at any point I want to see if there was an error or not in terms of that output coming or not. So what I can do is that I can just quickly click on that cell and click explain over here for it to give me a reason behind why the condition wasn't met. So as you can see over here, the condition was not met because the size field does not contain any particular value greater than that. And we have already found the data over here in the first itself. So this is how we finally get the output. When we see this data over here it doesn't just give us the visit or the users, but it also gives us the bounce rate, the average pages per visit. So these are more additional details that we are able to get out of running this particular waterfall enrichment. But the only data point that I'm concerned with right now is this. Further, as I mentioned, is I'm just looking to approach those companies with a certain volume. So what I've done over here is I've created a particular formula that further filters the website traffic and marks the traffic validity as valid only if the website count or the visitors count is greater than 50,000. So in this case, I have these two companies where the visitors are greater than 50,000 for me to then make a fair assumption. Yeah, these are the companies that I can reach out to. Now, you might say out of these 10 companies, I'm able to find only 2 companies that are relevant for me to approach. But that's the exact point. Wherein, even if you are approaching 1,000 companies, what's going to matter are those 100 companies that will actually work out, that will actually give you the business. So this was about how we can use the waterfall method to, one, use multiple data sources for us to find the right data. Second is to use the formula feature to filter and to validate our criterias. And third, finally, having an output with data points that we can work on. And if you found this useful, then please do hit the like and subscribe button. And thank you so much for watching this video.